Today we're going to talk about injuries, position changes, and guys returning to the fold. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today we're going to talk about some guys that are going to miss spring ball altogether due to injuries, and a couple position changes like Michael Thompson moving to offensive line for the spring, and Brayden Willis moving from inside receiver to H-back, as well as the return of A.D. Miller with some sound from Lincoln Riley in his own words. We're going to listen to that now.
Guys that'll miss spring practice because of injuries, expect all these guys back pretty quickly. Some of them are guys that were right on the edge but not quite ready to go. Creed Humphrey, Robert Barnes, Jordan Parker, Jalen Redmond, Starlin Baldwin, and Michael Anderson. Those guys will all miss spring practice. They're all able to do quite a bit physically right now, but getting out and going full speed in a football practice here is not. They're not ready for that right now. But expect all of them back soon. They're all on schedule. None of these were unexpected. A couple of postseason surgeries with Creed and with Jordan and with Michael Anderson that are progressing nicely. The rest of the guys were guys that we fully expected would be out at this point. But I think other than that, on the injury front, guys are doing well. A couple of position changes. We've moved Michael Thompson to the offensive line. He'll work there completely this spring. Bryce Roberts is a local kid here. We recruited at tight end a few years back, or got to know a little bit. Has come back here as a walk-on into the program. We're going to look at him at both the offensive line and the tight end position. Big kid that's got some ability. We've moved Brayden Willis from inside receiver to our H-back position. So he'll jump in that room with Jeremiah Hall and be looking to replace the production that we've had from Dimitri Flowers and Carson Meyer there the last few years. One other announcement, A.D. Miller's in the process of returning back to the program. Expect to have him back here in the next couple of days. Should be on the practice field with us here pretty quickly. As is well documented, he explored the transfer portal, looked around a couple other spots, but in the last several weeks has made a decision that he wants to be back at Oklahoma and wants to finish what he started here. And I give the kid a ton of credit because it's not easy to come back. But at the end of the day, this is where he wanted to be. We're thrilled to have him back. Teammates are thrilled to have him back. Obviously a position where we've got some good talent, but we do not have many bodies at that receiver position. We're talented, but we're very thin, and so we think AD will come provide a nice boost for us. So again, that's in the process of happening, but I think close enough that we were ready to go ahead and announce.
So I hope you enjoyed the sound. This is something else that I'm trying to incorporate more into the show. And if you like it, let me know in the comments below. So my take on this is Creed Humphrey is obviously the biggest deal when we're talking about guys missing the spring game. Not necessarily because Creed Humphrey needs the work. He absolutely does not. Everybody I've spoken to about Creed Humphrey continues to say this is one of the most talented offensive linemen they've seen, period. Let alone at the center position. The things that he's able to do, just being so young, don't necessarily come to guys like him very often. I've had Jerry Ostrowski talk with me about this, and there's that video on the channel if you're interested, about the things that he just does well, the things that you don't usually do well until you get to the NFL. And that's particularly important to this group because you don't have any other returning offensive linemen. Now, to Lincoln Riley's point, you're going to get an opportunity to see what the rest of these guys are made of. Tyrese Robinson, Adrian Ely, Bray Walker, Darrell Simpson, also Michael Thompson. Maybe these guys can help you. Now, I'm not necessarily certain that you're going to get the best product out of this offensive line come spring game. In fact, I would be mostly certain that you're not, because a bunch of brand new guys ain't going to look very good. But if anybody knows what they're doing with their position, it is offensive line coach Bill Bedenbaugh. We don't worry about Bill Bedenbaugh in the same way that we don't worry about Lincoln Riley calling the offense or picking quarterbacks. It's just not something that Oklahoma fans really need to give a lot of thought to. But moving Michael Thompson over to the offensive line permanently, that signals more than anything that the defense is going to get faster if by just losing weight. You get faster by losing weight. That is one way to manufacture speed. Also, we'll get to see just kind of a product that he can turn into. Again, a guy like Cody Ford last year was a right tackle after having never played the position. He's being talked about as a guy that could go in the first round of the NFL draft. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, I would have still loved to see this guy play defensive tackle just because you don't have that many defensive tackles and you need all the help you can get. Getting that guy below 300 pounds would probably be a problem, but I would have still loved to have seen it. That's just me. You want the defense to be better and you want to have as many bodies ready as you possibly can on the defensive side of the ball. A.D. Miller returning is also a big deal because there's a lot of folks that still believe A.D. Miller could turn out to be a player. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he has the potential. 7 catches for 75 yards, 2 TDs over the course of his career. Not necessarily bang up numbers, but this was a guy that was supposed to be competing with C.D. Lamb for that X-receiver position opposite Marquise Brown. Now, depending on what kind of speed you see out of Charleston Rambo or even Jaquaylin Crawford, you might want to run with that kind of guy at the other position and just go big at your outside receiver positions in the way that, say, Texas Tech did last year. Antoine Wesley was a problem. And then you looked at Texas. Colin Johnson opposite L.J. Humphrey was a problem. When L.J. Humphrey lined up in the slot, the man was nearly uncoverable. So maybe you could have that kind of option with an A.D. Miller. But with the 5-star receivers being on campus, Trajan Bridges, Theo Weiss, and Jaden Hazelwood, that might not necessarily be in play. But if they're as thin as Lincoln Riley has led us all to believe, yeah, you could see a lot of A.D. Miller as an experienced guy and a guy that absolutely knows what Dennis Simmons wants out there. Now, the big one for me is Brayden Willis. It's a sneaky good move. Moving him to H-back as one of the most versatile guys on this offense, what Michael Henderson could end up being in the 2020 class, is not something that fans should overlook. Now, there are the clips out there of him doing well, specifically on special teams. He had a nice grab against Baylor. But I think what this really signals is maybe Jeremiah Hall just ain't that good, because Carson Meyer was able to take that job from him when it was up for grabs after Dimitri Flowers left. And if Brayden Willis can work himself into the rotation with 2 guys and be the first guy up, maybe we're talking about Jeremiah Hall being in the portal. Now, that said, we were talking about Curtis Bolton as a guy that everybody given up on at this time last year. Nobody heard hide nor hair of him. And all of a sudden, preseason camp, that guy shows out, wins the job, and is, for many people, the most important defensive player on that 2018 team, such as it was. I like Brayden Willis' game. I thought he was a sneaky good get for Oklahoma in the 2018 class. I thought that perhaps if he could fit in at tight end, that would have been the fit, but H-back feels better. Specifically, it feels much better than inside receiver. But if you got those kinds of hands and you got that kind of size and you have the ability to be as smart as he is at playing the game of football, H-back is absolutely a great spot for you to be. And if you turn out to be really good, you can turn out to be Dimitri Flowers, and before him, Trey Millard. So you understand the appeal of a guy like Brayden Willis at a position where you, quite frankly, just don't have a lot of bodies. And maybe you're going to start to phase that position out because you don't have that number of bodies. But we saw Oklahoma basically run with 2 tight ends last year in Lee Morris and Grant Calcaterra, and those guys stayed healthy, so it worked. We'll see what happens at the H-back position. I would like to see what that guy brings to the table and see what his growth is like during the spring game. We're going to use more Lincoln Riley audio as we go forward. I'm excited about being able to use more audio. The more that this channel has grown, because people continue to donate toward it, because my bosses at 247 believe in what we're doing here, and because we actually are starting to turn some heads with the people that are watching the channel, engaging with the channel, what you are doing on a continual basis allow me to do that. And I terribly proud of all of us. I'm really excited about this community. And going forward, of course, we've been doing a couple videos a day, kind of a little bit got out of whack. We're going to get back to doing what we do well. We're going to do perhaps 2 videos a day, but only 2 videos of substance. And I'm going to start populating another channel with other takes related to other sports, things that I think that folks who want to come to the channel want to get my opinion about, things other than Oklahoma football can find over there. All right, that's it for me. I will talk to you tomorrow. Deuces.